What is up? Welcome to this week's episode of the Vanflip podcast. I'm here with Brandon of the Columbia, South Carolina metalcore / hardcore heavy band. We'll call it heavy band.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Your spirit dies. Brandon, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Like we just talked about before, hopping on here. It's opening day for baseball, so I'm getting kind of stoked now that that's back in play. But my team plays tomorrow for the first game, but I have to rep the hat a little bit.
Dope. What is your team?
This is the Tampa Bay Rays, but this is like the City Connect logo. So they came out with these cooler logos for every other team in the last couple of years. Yeah, so that's my team. Pretty diehard about that. Baseball's become my favorite sport.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I really got into, not to get all off topic and off base right away, but that's what we do here on the Vanflip. I got in a NASCAR a couple years ago as well. So you being from South Carolina, do you follow it? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, brother. Yeah. Big fan over here. Yeah.
Yeah. You got the accent for it. So I had to,
amen, brother. Yeah. Every Sunday. Yeah. We definitely had the race on growing up in my household. So yeah, that was a normal thing.
Who's your driver? Or who do you like to follow?
Dude, I don't even know who's in it now because I don't keep up with it, but definitely like back in the day, my dad was like a big like Martin fan. Gotcha. And like Dale Jarrett, like the classics, Richard Petty,
big names. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get into it until like the new rules and all that other shit. So like when my buddies talk about like running the whole race concurrent and not in stages and all this other stuff, I'm like, I'm just here to have a good time. It's all fun to me at this point. It's all I know.
Loud car, go fast. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's simple shit.
And I hated on it for like most of my life. I thought it was dumb as shit. And then I got into it and I'm like, oh my God, there's like so much. It's so much more intricate than I could ever have imagined.
Oh, dude, yeah, there's a lot to it. I don't even know the ins and outs, but I've like had friends who've like worked for NASCAR, you know what I mean? Done like the whole thing. So
it's weird. It's weird too, because like, not to since we brought up the NASCAR thing, like Warped Tour just sponsored a car like 2 races ago. I think from here, like 2 or 3 races ago, Warped Tour had a car running. Yeah. Ronnie Radke also had a car too. I don't call it reverse or whatever.
The punks are getting it now. The punks are getting NASCAR. They're getting Carhartt. You know what I mean? Like it's changing.
The South is I mean, I'm from Florida. You're from South Carolina. The South is becoming much more prominent these days than people probably would want.
Oh yeah.
But either way, let's get into the music part of stuff. We can come back to NASCAR later in the podcast if we need to.
For sure.
You guys are relatively like a newer band. Late 2010s is when you guys started. I'm pretty sure I saw you guys play at Rain Dogs or some smaller venue down here in Jacksonville years ago.
Holy shit. We played, it was like in downtown Jacksonville. I remember seeing a guy walking down the street with a machete. It was crazy.
Duval.
I can't remember the name of the place.
Was it really small, like in the back of a small bar?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it's Rain Dogs, I think.
Okay, cool. It may have been there. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. I remember playing there with like that Miracle band from Orlando, I believe, and Memento, like a couple Orlando bands.
Yeah, I think that was my introduction to you guys, and unfortunately, that place was getting too hectic at times, and so they stopped doing hardcore shows there for a little bit.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I heard it kind of got shut down. Yeah,
but now the bar's gone in general. It's a new whole situation, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But yeah, that's when I was kind of introduced to you guys, and then of course you released 2 EPs, and since then you kind of signed with Monarch Heavy, and you got your debut full length is going to be coming out May 2nd, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and that's called My Gnawing Pains Will Never Rest.
Yes, yeah, that's the name of the record.
One thing I noticed instantly about the record, and I mean, I could tell by the singles that have come out, because at this particular point, you guys have had 2 singles come out. I don't know if you have any more scheduled or whatnot, but you have the 2 now. There's a big difference to me, and it could be the same to you. I don't know, or the fan base, but it seems like you guys took like a more aggressive kind of like step for the debut album. Not saying that you weren't heavy or aggressive on the first 2 EPs, but like there's definitely, at least in the 2 singles that people can listen to, I'm sure they can agree, it's like a step up. So like I just kind of want to get into like the writing process of the debut album, and like maybe what had changed over the years. Because I think the last time you released an EP was 2022.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah,
a couple
about that
years in
time.
between.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what was the difference, and what made it elevate?
Dude, I really don't know. I mean, it was just kind of like a natural progression of just like where the band kind of wanted to go. There's still like a lot of stuff in like our earlier stuff. We just haven't released. We released another single next Tuesday,
Hmm.
and it's like a little more kind of like geared back to like the sound that we did, because we do take a lot of influence from like Shadows Fall, Kill Switch Engage, like that whole thing. And it's a little more geared in that direction. But yeah, I don't know. Like our influences have definitely changed. We've gotten like some new members and stuff in the band since the last EP. So it's kind of like all across the board, anywhere from like fucking Meshuggah to like, soil work to At the Gates to anything really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're just dabbling in whatever we fucking want to dabble in. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, as far as like everything else, yeah, that's just kind of been the easiest way to describe that. We just kind of have new members and new influences have been introduced for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, all the bands you kind of named aren't bands to scoff at in general. Plus, they've had like 20-year runs, so they're doing something right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something. Yeah, for sure.
You guys have one of the singles. You have Dan from Zayao on Serpentine. You have Dan of Zayao as like a feature on that. How did you how did you guys swing that? Or did you just like have to ask him and he was down with it, or did he hit you up?
Yeah, it was that, because we played like a local show once with them, like I think right after the pandemic. But then later on, he has, or the band reached out to us about doing like a tour around Furnace Fest.
Yeah, I
with
remember
them. So we did like, I think it was 4 shows, 5 days or something. So just got to hanging out with them and get to like know them. You know what I mean? Like, he's fucking awesome. Like everybody in that band's crazy. They're cool. So it's just like, I don't know. That's one of our biggest influences for sure. If you really want to get down into it, like our name is literally from like a Zayo song. So it's just like, yeah. So now that I just like text him and he just like talks about like weird doom metal bands to me and shit, like it's just like, it's cool.
Yeah.
He's like a friend now.
Did he realize that you guys kind of like built your name off of like Zayao's lyrics and shit?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. It was like that weird elephant in the room. You know what I mean? It was just like obviously. But yeah, they definitely talked about it and thought it was awesome and funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. How do you guys, like, in your perspective, like when you guys are writing and stuff like that, how do you take like some of the death metal, metalcore elements and blend them with like the melodic stuff? Like, is that just something that comes natural to you guys, or do you guys make like a conscious effort to kind of showcase all of that in a song, or not a song, but like EP or album?
Yeah, I think it's definitely more of like a natural thing, because I think it's just what we grew up with. Because like, I mean, in the Carolinas, like you have Undying, you have like Prayer for Cleansing, who kind of did like merge like the melodic death metal stuff with like the metalcore or whatever. So yeah, it doesn't really it doesn't feel forced. Obviously, it's just like knowing when to make something melodic, or if it needs to be melodic or at all. You know what I mean? So it's just like we definitely I feel like it comes more natural to the guitar players. I'm the vocalist. I just fucking sit and play video games while they like do their shit, and I'm just like, that's cool or that sucks. So it's just I've got the good job.
Speaking of like, being in the Carolinas and whatnot, I don't know how old you are, but obviously you've listed a bunch of bands that are like 20, 25 years at least.
Oh, dude, I'm 31 years old,
Okay.
So like I've been at it. I've been at it for a minute for sure.
So you're just kind of like, you kind of basically came up right toward, I don't know if I want to say the end, but like I'm 10 years older than you. And I remember like in my 20s, maybe by the time you were like, maybe just turning into a teenager or a preteen, I remember North Carolina, South Carolina being like a hotbed for fucking metal.
Dude, yeah.
It
was like every good band. Like you had Trustkill Records, like you had like Kill Whitney Dead, which is like a deep cut. Like just so many like sick bands from the area. So it was cool for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, you had like Between the Buried and Me, like you said, Undying and all those other guys that
Oh yeah,
turned into
yeah.
Between the Buried and Me. But like Tribunal Records was big at that time too, in that area with all their bands like Kill Whitney Dead and whatnot. But
That's what I meant to say. Tribunal. Yeah, like it
yeah,
was
well,
just.
Trustkill may have signed a band down from the Carolinas,
They
maybe.
may
But
have, yeah, but Tribunal was like the label for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how is the scene there in like South Carolina, North Carolina? I'm pretty sure you probably kind of got you guys cut your teeth at like Carlin's venue, the New Brooklyn Tavern,
Oh, of course,
and
yeah.
everything. So like, I kind of peripherally see the local scene through like him, but
Yeah.
like as a person who's grown up in it or like come up in it, like how can you explain to like the listeners or viewers like what that scene is like in Carolina? Because I mean, the South does get kind of a dumb bad name. Everyone thinks
We
that
do, yeah, for
everyone
sure.
thinks we're retarded down here or whatnot, but
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but like I think like a lot of the good stuff, whether it's hardcore or metalcore or metal, is like coming up from this area in the last decade. So, like, could you explain what that's like to be a member of the South Carolina fucking metal scene?
Dude, it's like I do have a lot of pride from being from like around here. Me and my guitar player, we actually grew up in North Carolina, but like in a small town that was like an hour from South Carolina shows, Charlotte shows, which obviously like back in the day had like Tremont Music Hall, which was
Mm.
like huge, like all of the bands played Tremont. So I kind of got like the intertwine, like the both worlds of like Carolinas. Um, there used to be like a crazy South Carolina, North Carolina beef, which is like a thing, you know what I mean? But that's just dumb
I didn't even know
bullshit.
about that, so it didn't really transpire down
No, it
here.
didn't. It never. It was more of like an unspoken thing for sure. Back when like crews were heavy and everything,
Oh
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
fun
But
times.
like, but yeah, I don't know, dude. It's like it's definitely had its waves. Like Charlotte in particular, with Tremont closing a good while back, and like it kind of hit like a low point for a while, and I feel like now it's kind of like on the rise. And I actually live in Greenville, South Carolina, which
Mm.
is northwest of Columbia, about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And it's kind of been the same here, but it's really doing well. You know what I mean? Like tours come through here. It's mostly like on the DIY scale,
For sure, yeah.
which I fuck with the most because that's like the world I grew up in. But it's just it's been sick. Like we did our last EP release show, and like this isn't braggy or anything, but there was like 350 people at that show, and it was an all local show. It was
Yeah.
like nothing crazy. It was just the locals. People here care about the local bands, and they take care of them.
Yeah, that's something that's cool about like smaller areas because less things happen, so you get sometimes more of a turnout for some of these DIY
Dude,
smaller
yeah,
stuff.
for sure. And when we book like our own, like when we book tours, and usually like me and my guitar player will like book our own tours or something. We do have a booking agent, but if it's like a small thing that we just like want to put together because we want to go play these places, we will do it.
Hmm.
And like Springfield, Illinois is like in the middle of nowhere. But it's like the coolest fucking place ever to play. Like Evansville, Indiana. It's like all these places are just sick. Huntsville, Alabama, like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you think hardcore, you're like, I'm not fucking thinking about these places. But dude, they're incredible. The kids there care,
Hmm.
and it's not like playing like an overly saturated area that gets a show every 3 days. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because like here, Jacksonville's not like a super prevalent hardcore metalcore scene. We do
yeah,
have one,
yeah,
and we definitely had one when I was younger. It seemed like Converge would come through every couple of months,
for sure.
and
Yeah,
all those types of bands that were just DIY hustling it. Something happened where we lost a lot of venues or our smaller venues over the years, so like it's kind of dwindled down, but it's on the up and up now. But
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's hard for like a local show, locally like a bill with local bands to really pull like hundreds of people out because again we do get those kind of bigger shows sometimes or not sometimes but
yeah,
on a regular basis now, and so like those bands have to kind of just hope to hop on like an opening slot type thing. But
yeah,
and again
yeah,
there are bills with just local bands, but you're
yeah,
not
for
pulling
sure. Yeah,
600 700 kids or anything like that either, so
yeah.
it is what it is. So you're 31. You've been doing this band for like 6 years now. How did you guys come together? Because you obviously live like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Columbia. So like,
Yeah.
do all the members kind of like live sporadically and you guys just know each other through the scene and decided to do something, or?
Yeah, now it's kind of more like that. Yeah, I mean, the original lineup was pretty much all Columbia, and I was the only one that was like out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of got hit up last. Like, I was the last person to get hit up. I think they all met up at like, I think a Divided Life show or something, and like they were just like, we should start a band, and they did. And they hit me up about joining. And I was like, I don't fucking want to play music right now. You know what I mean? Like, I was like in that whole, like, I'm trying to get my shit together era. Like, I'm like trying to fucking figure this shit out. And, yeah, they just kept hitting me up. And I was like, finally just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'll just roll down to Columbia and just check it out and see. And honestly, even like up until the point we were like recorded the like our first EP, I was even like, I don't know if I want to fucking do this. Yeah. But then when I heard it played back, I was like, okay, this shit's sick. Like, it's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, it's nostalgic. It's obviously, like, shit that a lot of people that I know that are, like, your age and my age, like, grew up on. So that's, like, yeah, that's just what we do. You know?
Yeah. So how long were you trying to, like, quote unquote, do the band thing before you decided to try to get your life together?
Oh, dude, not that long. I mean, let's be real. I was like, I mean, I played in like some bands back in the day and stuff for fun. And yeah, I don't know, man. I just kind of, I helped out with like some bands that toured and did some other stuff. But I don't know. I just kind of got like caught up in like relationship stuff and was like, you know, trying to grow up, be a man, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's something that I think everybody, like, because obviously I experienced that when I was younger too. And at one point I had a band for a few years, but even then after that, I was just like, you know, still going to shows and still doing this and that and the other. I was getting older. Meanwhile, the crowd was getting a little younger, that kind of situation.
Oh, but it's culture shock when you go back to a show now and you're like, I know none of these people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm 20 fucking plus years removed from my old scene, or, you know, removed from my old crew, not crew, but old, you know, group of people. And like, you know, there are times where people do get in relationships, have kids, and then they get less time to spend
busy,
you know, doing stuff. Busy. And then, you know, it's just weird that like, yeah, you'll go to a show and be like, who the fuck are all these people? Like, where did they come from? You know?
Well, now it's like they're all fucking 14, and it's like, what the fuck? I don't have anything in common with a lot of these people other than the fact that they like breakdowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, they see the videos on TikTok and Instagram about like, you know, trash cans being thrown about and big horseshoes and stuff like that, and they think they want to go do all that until they get fucking mollywop crowd killed.
Yeah,
for real. You know what I mean?
That's like, how I mean. Well, we all learned. You know what I mean? That's kind of what you had to do.
Luckily for me, I could be completely fucking wrong, but I don't remember it being as crazy when I was like 20 years old in the pit. It always felt like everyone had their own little space to do their little ninja move, and then like of course you would periodically like hit somebody, but like it was totally cool back in the day, and it wasn't like I guess like the quote unquote targeting wasn't really a thing yet. And then you'd have these bands from like up north come down and they would start doing like more of the crowd kill moves, and people down here be like, what the fuck? So
for sure,
yeah, it is.
Charlotte was a pretty violent scene, I'd say, for sure. It was. I remember being a kid going to Charlotte shows and being like, "Wow," you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this is crazy. But I kept going, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the same here. I mean, Evergreen was pretty big around the time I was starting to go to shows, and like, you know, I followed them from like their fucking debut until a couple albums, but they always would be touring with other eulogy bands, so like Shattered Realm and Unbroken Wings and all these bands from up north would constantly be coming here, and of course they became like bands that we loved, and they would bring like the crazy people out with them from Boston or, you know, New England or whatever. So it got violent. You know, I got kicked in the face a couple times when I was a kid, but it is what it is.
Yeah, kicked in the face, kicked in the balls, a little bit of, I've had it all. Yeah, for sure.
Shit, in the last year, I got fucking roundhoused into the stomach at a fucking Comeback Kid show, and I was like, damn.
Well, that's, you know, hey, you know, I happened there in Comeback Kid. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's where I stand. I like to stand near the pit, which is fucking stupid, but, you know, I like to feel somewhat adjacent to what's going on. I don't want to be in the back or nothing like that. I don't want to be in the front, but I don't want to be in the back either.
I like the good old fashioned dodge. It makes me feel
Just put
something.
your
It
hand
makes
out,
me feel
just
something.
stop, please don't get this close.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes me feel something for a little bit. So yeah, I'll do it.
So yeah, I know we kind of talked about a little bit of like the band's influences and stuff like that, but what are like your influences? Like what got you in to, the crazy world of hardcore and metalcore?
Well, definitely like growing up in the South, I think like I don't know, being like my both my parents were like super religious. Like I grew up in like a Southern Baptist household, so I was like only allowed to get CDs at like the Christian bookstore. You know
Mm-hmm,
what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Like so like but at the time they had like this like cool guy that was like selling like who would like stock the city. So he's getting like all the solid state
Yeah.
stuff and like
Some Norma
so like it
Jean.
was obviously like a lot of like the Chariot, Norma Jean, and then like Under Oath. But then like I started finding like Zayo, and then like it just like the rabbit hole kind of got deeper and deeper. Um yeah, so like I mean those probably like in the earlier days, but obviously now like I'm more into like I've always been more attracted to like the darker metal
Mm-hmm.
core or like hardcore. Like even when it comes to, like hardcore, I like obviously like I love bands like Terror and stuff like that, but I do prefer like All Out War
Yeah.
or like any of the metallic stuff. Like that's always been more so my thing. Um so yeah, like just getting into metal. Zayo was like the band I was like, oh shit, like this is like scary. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like it
yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
heavier guitar tones and just being like, what the fuck is this? And then it just kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how like bands like early Zayo and like even Converge, early Converge are like somewhat classified as hardcore because obviously there wasn't like a budding metalcore scene back in the day. Although there was like Dead Guy and all those other
Yeah.
bands that were doing quote
Yeah.
unquote metalcore, but like yeah, it's wild how like they just straddle the bridge of like you said, scary hardcore or scary metalcore.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
wilder version of it, and then it's weird how
Yeah.
like that transforms into like Parkway Drive, Killswitch Engage at some point, which is like a more um how do I phrase this?
Radio friendly
Yeah,
for
yeah, but I
sure.
mean,
But
like even early
yeah.
Killswitch and early Parkway is not radio friendly, but there's
Yeah.
definitely a departure from like All Out War, Integrity,
Oh yeah, it's a completely
Converge, and all that
different
stuff.
thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like,
it's apples and oranges. You know what I mean? Like Five Finger Death Punch to Morbid Angel. You know what I mean?
of
Like
course,
it's
of
like what?
course, of course, I have to ask you since you brought up Five Finger Death Punch. You don't have to tell me your honest opinion, but what's your opinion on the wildly popular Sleep Token?
I'm gonna be very honest with you, and I don't know if this is gonna be cool. I've never listened to that band.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's like it's not that I have like a preference. I don't. I fear that it will not be my thing, so I choose to stay away. You know what I mean? It's
I
like
feel
it's
you.
like I pretend I do not see type shit. Where I'm just like, okay,
Yeah,
like they exist and they're doing whatever they're doing in their realm, but I know it's probably not my thing for sure.
yeah. I made the mistake of like checking out their newer song that came out a couple weeks ago the other day, and I don't understand. I don't understand it. You know what I mean? There's that. But the other part is like, we live and work in a world of heavy music, right?
For sure.
And
Yeah.
I know my entry point was, quote unquote lame for a lot of people probably these days. I got into like new metal or whatever, right? And then that kind of
No.
transpired me into getting into like more Roadrunner bands, finding out more core type metalcore bands, and so I get everyone's entry point, but then I try to like think of like, all right, Sleep Token is like the Hot Topic, Spencer's, teeny, girly mallcore stuff, right? So like, how does
Yeah.
how does one fall down the cracks to even like Five Finger Death Punch to even then like something else that's kind of like radio friendly Killswitch or Parkway Drive, and then fall down further down the crack. But I can't connect the dots because it's just R&B. To me, it's R&B with distorted guitars. That's what
Yeah.
Sleep
Yeah.
Token
Yeah.
is. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I
again,
mean, when
I
it
get
comes
it.
to like certain like types of butt rock, like I'm definitely like down with like Breaking Benjamin.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
Diary of Jane, come on, dude. Like that shit's fire. It's like all that shit's like some of it's cool. Dude, I fuck with Nickelback, unironically.
No, no.
There's
I
some
think bands that make like 14 albums with like 15 songs an album, they're bound to have a fucking handful of 10 songs that are just straight up bangers. Sure. Yeah. And Nickelback is one of them.
But dude, you put on that one Nickelback record, dude, you're like, wow, I know every fucking word. Yeah. Like, how is this a thing?
And that happened, dude, that happened to me so many times because we've covered a lot of like bigger festivals like the Danny Wilmer stuff, like Rockville and Louder Than Life. And there was one time we went to Louder Than Life and like Stained was coming back. Like they were like the reunion at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't really fucking care. Like I only really fucked with like the one album back in the day. And I know
it's been a while.
I know, not that one, the one before, like the actual.
Break the Cycle.
No, before that, Dysfunction.
Oh shit! Okay.
With like Mud Shovel and that vibe. Yeah. But I did know Break the Cycle and some other things. I did peripheral follow them. Dude, they came on, and of course, like, I've had a couple beers at this point, and they played like 10 songs, and I was like, fuck, dude, I know every fucking one of these songs. And then I got back into Stain, so
dude, their new record, like, the first song's, like, kind of fucking heavy. It's like, the tone is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's, like, a new revival. I don't think it's corny. Like, the new metal shit's still sick. It's just, like, is what it is. It's like, you just have to accept it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can't, the only thing I really haven't gotten behind is, like, the Creed revival. But dude, I'm not into it. I just can't. I wasn't into it then, and like to see it come back, I'm like, oh, why?
If you fuck with it for the bit, it can become real. I went to the Creed reunion tour, and that shit was crazy, dude. Scott Stapp's wearing the tightest pants I've ever seen on a man, and I used to be emo, so it's like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
You gotta sell the goods for the ladies, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did like a random ass podcast or something completely like some nonprofit thing. And I was just on the podcast. I wasn't like the host or anything like that. And Scott was fucking the guest or whatever. So I was like, this is fucking straight up weird. And this is way before the way before the revival, you know, it was like years before the revival. And I was like, what are we doing here, dude?
Yeah. That's crazy.
So speaking of influence and stuff like that, let's get back on track. I'll try to keep us back on track. How did you figure out that you wanted to be like a vocalist? And then second part to that, like, what are your influences as far as like vocally? Like, what do you look towards?
Oh, dude, like, I don't know, man. That's definitely a good question. Because a lot of the vocalists that I like look up to, like, I sound nothing like. You know what I mean? Like, because like I said, I listen to a lot of death metal and like stuff, but like my voice is definitely more rooted in like hardcore. Like I get, like, I don't know. I know that that's just the way that I sound. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm trying to think of vocalists that I actually look up to. A lot of them were in like our local scene, to be honest with you. Like people that I like truly admired. And then like obviously as a kid, like Suicide Silence, like I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Like, how does this man do this with his throat? Like, it's crazy. But like, it's just like, I don't know. I definitely just kind of do my own thing because like I don't have a crazy range. Like I'm not like I can't go crazy high or crazy low, so I'm just like fuck it. I'm just gonna send it, and I'm just rocking in that weird lazy territory where I like barely have to try.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of what like when I was a vocalist too for my band way back in the day, and I just did it. It's like in like whatever is coming out is that's what we sound like. Dude, now.
I feel bad because like like kids and stuff or just people will come up to me and ask me for advice, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I just yell. Like I make the noise. I remember one day I was doing some Inhale shit when I was like a kid in middle school. Like I was listening to like Winds of Plague, shit like that. So I was like, this is sick. And I learned how to inhale, and I did play in like an Inhale band. I will never mention that band's name a day of my life. But like definitely like learned how to do vocals. And I can't remember what band I was listening to. I remember like trying to like sound like it. It may have been like early hundreds because that was like a big band for the Carolinas, obviously. You know what I mean? So like I think I was just like listening to their When Will We Surrender record. And like started trying to scream, and then eventually, like it happened, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like this is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of wild because these days there's so many like techniques that kids can literally try to sound like anything, and there's like,
Yeah.
classes online that you can take or whatever, which is strange. To
Yeah,
me
yeah,
being an
yeah.
older guy, it's strange. But again, like, if you want your band to have like the guttural fucking stuff that doesn't make real words,
Yeah.
there's many videos for you to figure that out. If you want the
Yeah.
inhale scream, there's many videos for you to look at that. Yeah, that's the other thing about being like vocals and being a vocalist. When I was a younger guy, I can't get with the only band that I will allow non-real words to be said as like their lyrics is a band called Igor, and they're like some French metal band, and like I
Yeah, I don't know
think
what they're saying anyways. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
but like I was like, damn, is this French? Because like my family's French, so I started looking up the lyrics, and like that's when I found out, oh, it's just a made up language, and I was like, that's even cooler. I can vibe with that.
That makes it, yeah, that makes it cooler for sure.
But yeah, I'm not, vocals has come a long way in the last 25 years for fucking
Oh,
like
it's
hardcore
insane.
metalcore. So
Yeah.
it is
The
everything.
the true shift I feel like was like the whole like disfiguring the goddess, like
Yeah.
that like weird like era of like when slam kind of got, or like deathcore or whatever, like kind of took over. I remember that era. And yeah, that, and then, like a lot of that stuff, I liked some of it, you know what I mean? But a lot of that wasn't really my thing. I definitely went through like the phase when I was in like, I want to say like high school or something, but like, yeah, I like quickly resorted back to bands like Half Heart, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That's cool. So you kind of just do your own thing vocally or whatnot. What are your, cause you've been in the trenches here for this DIY game for a little bit. What are your thoughts on like the current state of hardcore and metalcore compared to like when you were like a budding teenager getting
yeah,
into it?
I don't know, man, for better or for worse, there's always that. Like, everyone has a different opinion. I think it's like cool to not be terrified if more than 10 people are going to be at a show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In most places, it's definitely like with like the popularity and the success or whatever, the more mainstream it's gotten, it's definitely made it easier in a lot of ways, but also harder just because now everyone's trying to do this. And it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's just a for better for worse. I like take pride like in being here still and like seeing all the ups and downs of everything, and still for some psychotic reason just like sticking with it. Like I'm still here and this is like all I know really,
Yeah.
and like I'm cool with that. Like, but definitely like it is. It feels bigger than it ever has been.
Of course.
Maybe, I
Yeah, I
mean,
agree.
like, yeah, because like I mean, obviously, like Hatebreed, like Jamie Josta, like it got. I feel like it hit a peak for a while, like during that era. Like it got super popular,
Yeah.
and like Hatebreed was bringing a lot of like non-metal people into metal, or like maybe. I mean, I was
No, I
like,
mean you're right because they got on like they started doing like tours with other bands that are like bigger and not hardcore bands. Like
yeah,
they
yeah,
eventually got into
yeah,
like Ozfest. So you're getting a lot
for
of
sure.
people that are going to see Ozfest type bands, and then they find Hatebreed, closing down the second stage or whatnot, and then they're into Hatebreed, and then they fall
Yeah,
over into that realm.
yeah, it's like a domino effect. So I mean, like I think ultimately, like bands getting more notoriety and like attention helps everybody. You know what I mean? Like if you're in this world, because I mean, the last thing, I don't want it to die. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
just like, but if it does die, I'm still going to be listening to it. Like it just is what it is.
yeah. It's one of those things where like I think about it all the time because you want there's no money in this kind of world, right? So like you want the bands that you like to keep going on, but then in the back of my head I'm like, well, they have to make money or they have to like juggle a job and this, which then leads them to
Yeah,
not do the music thing as much. They can't tour as much, they can't write music as much. So there has to be some kind of monetary value to doing what they're doing. But then again, it's like, can it get too big and then like just completely dilute the industry, so to speak? And then you have bands that are like just created to make money.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
not
That's
saying there's a
definitely
lot of that, but there definitely is bands that have come and gone or that are still around that get put together.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's definitely the burning question. It's just like, will it implode
Yeah.
in 5 years or,
And
whatever?
I think hardcore probably suffers from that a little bit more. Well, metalcore, I think metalcore is much bigger than hardcore, but like it's reached different demographics and audiences, and like you can find it on Sirius XM, you can find it on,
Yeah,
it was
for
on
sure.
MTV back in the day more prevalently than like hardcore videos were. But uh, that being said, I feel like there's a lot more underground metalcore bands than there are really underground hardcore bands, and
For sure.
the bands that are coming up in hardcore, they have different goals than the bands that used to be coming up in hardcore. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it used to be like, I'm fucking 19, I ain't got shit going on, let's run it, and do
Yeah.
this, that, and the
Yeah.
other. And now it's like dudes are 30, 40 years old still doing it, but they have, they got, again, you got to be able to keep doing that. So it's a
Oh,
for
dude,
better or
yeah.
worse thing,
Like,
like you said.
yeah, like, and even with our band, like, we're not like a money making band, you know what I mean? But like, as long as I can like get me a meal or something like while I'm out on tour, and like because I did the whole thing where like I lost hundreds of dollars on tours, you know what I mean? When I
I
was
think
younger,
most people have, yeah.
can't do that now. You know what I mean, dude? I've got shit that I have to take care of. Like, I just can't do that. So I have to be smart. Either A, not eat, or just, yeah. But
Yeah.
we like sleep in the van.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are very, like, we're not very high maintenance. We post up in a Walmart parking lot, and I built bunk beds in my van and got like, so it is comfortable enough for 30-year-olds, but like, because we suffer from,
Bad backs.
yeah, bad backs and other disabilities for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I mean, and again, I did that whole thing where we, slept in the van all the way up and down the East Coast, and slept on floors of, basement shows that we were
Oh,
fucking playing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some shitty places too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You just find yourself in the weirdest fuck. But again, that all makes for like great times with the
The
bros and
stories. Yeah.
stories. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you can't beat it really. I mean, it's like I know that like as I get older, like I'm definitely gonna have like if I have children or grandkids, I'm gonna be like back in my day, I slept on floors with dog shit on them. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
I mean, me and the dude still. I mean, that was 20 years ago at this point. A little over 20 years, or yeah, 20 years ago at this point. We still talk about it, like those
Yeah,
those tours, those times, and just being like, and then not only that, just thinking back, like, what the fuck were we even thinking? Because it was a different time 20 years ago, right? Like, again, like we talked about, it's bigger, it's easier, it's more accessible these days. Fucking 20 years ago, it was just like hitting randos up on MySpace, like, yo, you live in this town. Can we play with your show? And that's how we
yeah.
fucking did it, and just show up, not knowing anything. Like,
It's respect, dude. Yeah,
yeah,
all that is so respectable because I mean, it's just like it paved the way for everybody to do it now. And like, I mean, touring in comparison, while it may be like more expensive,
mm,
it's just like it's so much easier. Like I
yeah,
have a phone that tells me exactly where to go. I'm not having to print out MapQuest directions, and I have done that. I've
yeah, yeah.
been there back in the day. I remember MapQuest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
we would roll with atlases and
yeah,
like using payphones to call somebody when we got into town.
yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And then the fucking TomTom came out, and you were
yeah.
like, "What the fuck?"
We
Dude?
weren't rich enough to afford the TomTom, so we would just fucking print the MapQuest shit. We would go to like a Kinko's or FedEx or some shit, and then look up the directions if we got lost or something. But there was so many just like 10-hour drives. It's like, I hope we're going in the right fucking way.
Dude, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's scary.
Speaking of that, so what are some of your favorite tour stories
Oh fuck, man.
that you can tell the public? Obviously,
Yeah, there's like some crazy shit. I actually met a guy from Lambgoat. I can't remember his name because it was like a year or so ago. It was
Dylan.
when we played. Huh?
His name was Dylan.
Dylan. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I met him. We played this venue in Cupertino, somewhere in the fucking Bay Area. I don't know. It was a weird show. It was like a weird festival, and we played with a bunch of bad bands. I don't remember who they were, but we played there with No Cure.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting there and there being like a lot of cops. And I wonder if this guy could tell me more because I'm just trying to dive into what this was. But there was a bunch of cops there and they had this area blocked off. And later I found out there was like a dead body stuffed in the sewer.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the shit I'm trying to hear about on
Right.
tour.
No, I get it.
old dead fucking bodies. Like, dude, yeah, I don't know.
It's like that.
Yeah, I
It's like
mean,
that movie
a lot.
scene. Y'all ever seen a dead body? You want to see a dead body?
Yeah. Apparently the thing was like chopped up and stuffed in the sewer or some shit. And I was like, this is like California shit. This is sick.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
But
some.
they had it like a tent around it so like the locals couldn't like see what was happening. You know what I mean? Like so because I could imagine like a dead body in a sewer would cause the show to be canceled and an uproar.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was crazy. That's one of the stories that sticks out the most. I mean, obviously there's so many of them. Just like I don't know. I usually bond about how much I don't like places. That's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
that's like,
What are some of the places that you hated? I mean, without calling out too much, like what are some areas that you just don't like going to?
dude, like, and that's the thing. Like, all of them are great. Like, once I'm parked, because I like do a lot of the driving too. So,
Hmm.
like, when I'm like parked, I'm straight. You know what I mean? Like, I'm walking around, I'm doing my thing, I'm chilling. Philly scares the fuck out of me. The fact that people choose to live there is crazy.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's cool. Like food's great. People I know that live there are incredible, but no way,
It's
no
just
way.
it's so old. It's made in it was made in a different time. All the buildings are like fucking 300 years old.
Yeah, dude.
The streets are all like again first generation
Yeah.
America. Like the streets are like
Oh,
wild.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, they haven't filled in a crack since the beginning of time. Like some of those. Also, the roads are just so tight
Right,
too.
that's what I'm
You know
saying.
what I
They're like they're
mean?
so small, you can't expand anything, so traffic's always got to be a bitch. And then just it's old. It's just old school roads, old school
Yeah,
like roadways of like how it's laid out. You know what I mean?
and you can't park. Like there's just like if you have a trailer, you're fucked, and
Yeah,
you are going to get a ticket. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Like,
it's
New
crazy.
York has expanded their roads a little bit here and there. They weren't as like congested, but yeah, when you go to like first world America spots like
Dude, yeah,
Philadelphia and stuff, it's just so fucking
yeah.
crazy.
Chicago's like pretty straight. Like I like Chicago
Yeah.
for like a major city, major
Well, they had a big
metropolitan.
fire, so they had room that
They
everything
rebuilt.
got burnt
Yeah.
down. So they were like, let's space this bitch out a little bit.
Yeah, they rebuilt. They got smart about that. That's cool. I've just gathered I'm not like a big city person.
I feel you. I again, South. I get you, brother.
Yeah, dude. I like it quiet. I do like really like Pittsburgh, and that seems to be like an unpopular opinion with a lot of people, but like I do like that city.
Hmm.
It's like Philly, but not.
It's rural Philly, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's like Appalachian Philly. It's like
for
okay.
sure.
Yeah, like West Virginia is like you can throw a rock at it, and it's like
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah,
Like I for some reason I just vibe better with like old meth head rednecks for some reason.
yeah. Well, that's where we kind of grew up in that vibe. So I totally
yeah,
understand.
yeah,
Yeah, those
yeah,
are our people. Um,
yeah.
what do you? What are your? Have you guys like traveled in Texas a lot?
Yeah, dude. I mean, on that the tour we did with my children, my bride a while back, we think we did like Lubbock. We did 6 shows in Texas.
I hate driving there.
It's crazy.
I hate it.
Yeah,
That highway
especially
sucks.
that middle part. Like that middle part's like insane. It's just like nothing.
Well, you're all like it's all straight, obviously, but like
Yeah,
you're just going straight west if you're driving like to Lubbock or whatever, and so you're facing the sun all
yeah,
the fucking time, which that's a bummer. But like once you start getting like we go to Dallas, my girl, she has family in Dallas, so we've been going there for the last couple of years, and like I fucking hate it, dude. You drive on the highway and like the turnarounds and just like no one can drive there, you know.
yeah. No,
I'm from
no.
Florida. People say that Floridians can't drive,
Yo,
but like,
that
dude,
the Jacksonville intersection right there where like 3,000 highways connect, dude. I like almost shit myself every time I roll
oh, I
through
mean,
there.
it's kind of confusing even if you're fucking living here. You got to make sure you're in the right fucking lanes all the
Yeah,
time. And there's like
yeah,
16 lanes that you can choose from in that one little spot.
yeah. And I feel like there's always like a guy in a Ferrari for some reason, just like trying to run me over. I don't know like what it is. That's like maybe closer to like Orlando,
No, I mean,
but
yeah.
definitely it's insane. It's just scary.
I mean, again, we get a lot of shit for like people thinking we can't drive, but I think y'all can't drive and we're just much better at it. That's why we're faster and we move quicker. That's what I'll
Oh,
say.
dude, yeah, y'all are fine, man. I just, I learned that if I stay in my lane, in my little right lane in Florida, I'm straight. I'm just doing what they want. It's
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Just get out of the way. Get in the middle lane, right lane, whatever. Get past.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You get past.
But yeah,
I
I
like,
mean,
I don't know. It's chill out here. Like South Carolina people can't drive. I'm not going to like stand up for these people. They're pretty terrible. I remember living in North Carolina, getting behind a South Carolina driver and being like, "Fuck this guy." You know what I mean?
yeah, I feel
He
you.
wouldn't even be doing anything. He'd just be with a South Carolina plate, and I would just be like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah, the cool thing about the Carolinas and going around, especially like in southern Georgia too. It's a lot of back road type highways or byways, whatever you want to call them, just
Yeah,
smaller little
yeah.
fucking things. Like I went up to Greenville not that long ago. I DJ new
Oh,
metal nights, so you know what I mean. Or not
you were
Greenville.
here?
No, I'm sorry, Greensboro, North
Oh,
Carolina.
okay, okay, yeah.
So I do some like new metal nights every now and then here in the southeast. But when I
That's
went up
awesome.
there, I was like, damn, dude, I'm going through like fucking old South type shit
Nothing. Yeah,
on
nothing.
these fucking roads. It was cool. I mean, that's the vibe that I also am
Yeah.
used to. So it's like, fuck, man.
Oh yeah, because like all the state roads in Florida and shit, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of those that are just like
Yeah,
nothing.
Florida is rural as fuck, and that's what
Oh,
people
for
don't
sure.
people don't understand. There's like 5 cities, and then it's fucking farms
Dude,
everywhere
that's
else.
New York. You know what I mean? Like you get
Yeah,
outside of the city, there's not shit. There's
yeah,
like Albany, Rochester, and Buffalo, and Syracuse. You know, like some smaller stuff in between. But dude, there's a lot of nothing there. It's
yeah,
like my mom and dad. When you say New York, they're like the city.
yeah.
Like
In
they think
Manhattan, that's all you
they
think about.
they think this entire thing is just that, and it's not. It's like completely not. I don't know.
So
It's funny because like even going up to because we recorded in Connecticut with Greg Thomas
mm,
from the band End,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Awesome band.
he's awesome. He played in like the Risk Taken and like Mid Sigs for like a little bit, you
Hmm
know.
hmm
But like just going up into Connecticut like for the first time was just like kind of shocking because I was like, it literally just looks like South Carolina. It is all the same.
Of course, yeah. The East Coast is kind of all the same. It just depends on how old things are and like
Yeah,
how populated they've been.
dude, I
Uh,
saw rebel flags. You know what I
well,
mean? I was just like,
I mean, come here. I'm gonna since we're talking about this North and South stuff. I get Lambgoat has a thing about comments, right? Like the comments
oh,
are
of course,
pretty
yeah, yeah,
crazy
yeah.
on Lambgoat, and we somewhat enjoy that. And sometimes it becomes an issue, but for the most part, it's in good fun. Uh, I will say this as someone who checks the comments regularly on and I ban IPs all the time.
Yeah,
I don't let anyone just fucking say whatever they want. But if I'm banning an IP, more likely than not, I will check where that IP is coming from at least. And the wildest shit is always from either like the West Coast or the northern East Coast. It's like, I try to tell people because like we get the whole thing like, oh, the South is racist and all this shit. I was like, no, dude, I think we're way more diverse than most of the country is. I think a
yes,
lot more different ethnicities and races live in the South. But
for
like the
sure. Yeah.
wildest shit comes from like the
Dude,
Northeast or like
yeah,
California, the North Pacific Northwest. I'm just like, whoa, dude.
yeah. I don't even fuck with a rebel flag. I was just up there and like never expected to see it. It's like, dude,
Yeah,
like you choose to have that. Like it's there.
yeah.
And like you want to be me so bad. Like you hear my accent and you're like, I want to be that
Of
guy.
course,
You know
of
what I
course.
mean?
I think the South is just. I leave the South and just can't wait to get back.
Oh, dude, yeah. Sweet tea, food, barbecue.
Yeah. Ooh,
Like we
what's
got
your favorite barbecue? As someone who's traveled around, where you could say North Carolina, obviously, or Carolina barbecue, but like, what
North
are some?
Carolina barbecue, Eastern North Carolina barbecue. Because I grew up in Western North Carolina, but like the Eastern side of the state is like incredible, and that's pretty much just like Charlotte and like on. You know what I mean? It's like a specific type. I have respect for all pork. You know what I mean? I'll eat it
Yeah.
wherever you feed me it.
Is
Um,
that the mustard?
uh,
Is that more like vinegary mustard based
it's
barbecue?
more vinegar based,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
love
Like
that shit.
Western's like a little more mustardy, like mustard based. But yeah, I'm big, yeah, big barbecue guy.
I love. I'm not sure Florida has its own barbecue, but we definitely have good barbecue down here because
Yeah,
Jacksonville is like southern Georgia, so we have a little more redneck than
yeah.
like lower Florida. But we have great barbecue here. I think. Fucking Texas barbecue sucks. I think it's all in any kind of dry
No,
rub barbecue. I'm not fucking with that.
yeah, I can't like. I'm not like. Obviously, I don't want to get like shot with a gun the next time I'm in fucking Texas. But like, it's not that great.
Yeah.
It's like it's fine. Like for me, it's like you guys have to rely on the sauce.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's dry a
Like
little bit.
it's got to be good without the sauce. and then it's like amplified. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
it's like if it's bad without the sauce, that's on you.
I should probably try some more. I mean, next time I go out there, I might try another barbecue spot. But like, I've tried like big name spots out in Texas. Like, I went to Terry Black's and spent $60 on my
Oh,
own lunch. You know what I mean? And
and
I
see,
was like,
that's
fuck.
fucking bullshit.
Yeah, but I was
Like,
expecting it to be like, I'll try a little bit of everything, and I was like, this is fucking mid, bro.
dude, there's like a barbecue chain that opened up here that's supposed to be Texas style barbecue, and it's like the most mid shit on earth, and it's like $40 for a plate, and it's like barbecue's like the cheapest
Right.
shit to make. It's like
Seriously.
it's fucking supposed to be like $5 for a sandwich. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
and I'm sure you have the same situation out there as we have here. We have like dudes that'll pull up outside of a venue and just be smoking barbecue all day long and
yeah.
just selling. That's where I like to go. I like to go to those dudes that just like build some kind of wild contraption. It's not even a real grill, like they'll have like a filing cabinet. They just kind of
Oh yeah,
hollowed
dude.
out and fucking pull the drawers out and shit.
Yeah, there's a dude right around the corner that does that shit. It's just like I can like walk to him, and it's just mad cheap. It's like easy.
It's not the healthiest, but it's fucking delicious.
I don't give a fuck about healthy anymore.
I feel you. Feel you. To wrap it up here, what are some things that you do outside of music? Like, if you don't have to tell me like what your job is unless you want to, but like, what are some things that you kind of are into outside of, obviously, like you were a NASCAR fan at some point, but like things
Yeah.
that are interesting to you outside of music?
I don't know, man. Like I'm like I've gotten like I guess I got burnt out on music for a while, so I got super into movies.
Nice.
Like I like just some form of visual. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, up until like recent, I was not a movie guy. Like
Mm,
I am also like the lowest tier. Like you can put on just about any fucking thing, and my dumb ass is gonna be like, okay, this is like I can find something interested in it. I have like the mind of like a 3-year-old sometimes, so it's just like, you know what I mean.
yeah.
So I don't know, but I have like recently gotten into like that weird 70s and 80s like horror
Mm-hmm.
stuff, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like Italian giallo or whatever, but that's because of Greg, the guy I record with, dude. He's like a movie freak. Like his basement is just like what I just imagine is probably 50 million DVDs. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
so yeah, even when we record, and I would just like watch them. We'd all watch one every night before going to bed, and like it just kind of stuck with me. I was like, wow, this shit's kind of cool, and it was like the same effect of like discovering like hardcore when I was like a younger.
Right.
I was like, oh shit, this is like something I've just never paid attention to, and it's like kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like I think that's like my thing. Other than that, dude, I'm just like sitting here chilling with my girlfriend and my dog, and just like just hanging,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
You said you did. Did I hear you right earlier where you were saying you like play video games?
I okay. So I'm in the middle of like a move right now, so I have not been playing video games. I don't really play video games, but want to.
Yeah.
I'm like an admirer because I have an addictive personality,
Feel that.
and if I play video games, I'll lose everything. I like if I get it, like there's no way I could play World of Warcraft at 31 years old, dude.
It's
Like I'd
probably
be
not a
done.
great. Yeah, don't start that now. Obviously,
No
I
way.
mean, you may not even be into the actual type of game it is, but if you
Oh, dude,
are,
I
it's
played it back
downhill.
in the
Yeah,
day.
it's
You know what I
downhill.
mean? I was a gamer when I was a kid. I like if I play WoW now, dude, and I got friends who do it. Shout out. I'm like, I'll be fucked, dude. I'll lose
Yeah,
my job. I'll lose my house. I'll
I
lose
knew a dude.
everything.
I straight up knew a dude back in the day. I lived with a guy who lost his girlfriend and his job
I'm
off of
dude.
Warcraft. Off of Warcraft.
Low key respect. You know what I mean? Like,
Dedication, Holmes. He was
yeah,
dedicated to
dude, you
the
got to
fucking
do
grind.
something. Yeah,
I did the same thing, not lose my girlfriend and job, but I did the same thing, taking a break from video gaming for like 8 years. I think
yeah,
my PS3 bit the dust, and I just said, "Fuck it." You know what I mean? I got other things to worry about.
yeah, yeah.
But I was addicted to like Call of Duty and Black Ops and that kind of Modern Warfare type first person shooter. Only team deathmatch. I wouldn't fucking play any other the other shit.
Yeah,
And this is
yeah.
before Warzone and all that stuff. But I did move in with my girl, and she had a PlayStation 4, and I was like, I tried to avoid touching it for the longest time.
Yeah.
Then I did, and I was like, I just won't play Call of Duty. I'll play some other games. So I started playing like open world, open map games.
Yeah.
And that was cool. And I beat a couple games, and then fucking Modern Warfare remake came out, and I bought that, and so that sucked my life away for like 5 months. But you know, everyone cheats, and it's just like super fucking annoying. So it was really easy to not get super involved in that. But I definitely got involved with the big world games. Like Ghost of Tsushima was a good game, and then I fucking bought the hype, and I got Elden Ring, and I literally just beat Elden Ring like a week ago.
Oh, dude, yeah. I like right before all this, I got like Shadow of War. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I've also just like dove into like Lord of the Rings like really heavily over the last little bit. I'm just like, dude, I like fuck with this shit. Like Gandalf's my god. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
is that something that you didn't know about? Did you not watch the movies prior to like recently, or did you watch those back in the day?
Dude, yeah, no. I like I said, movies just never really did it. Like I never did it. And like I just watched Lord of the Rings for like the first time like maybe 6 months ago, and it fucked my whole world up.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is the sickest shit I've ever seen. Trees talk. You know, like it's like the craziest trip on earth, but it's like Middle Earth. It's crazy. Yeah, it was sick.
I remember watching the movies in the theater thinking like, God damn, I'm drinking this big ass Coke and I know this bitch is like 3+ hours long, dude. I'm gonna miss something at some point.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro's gonna have to piss for sure. Yeah.
Well, Brandon, the hour goes by quick, you know, when you're fucking having fun.
Yeah, this was a good one, man. This was fun.
I'll cut you loose here a little bit. But yeah, Your Spirit Dies, Monarch Heavy album debut, My Gnawing Pains Will Never Rest. You guys got In the Depths of Grief out, and Serpentine featuring Dan from Zao is out, and probably by the time this comes out next week, so maybe around the same time you guys will have the third single, or following this, the third single will be out. But is there anyone or anybody, any band that you kind of want to give love to, or you know, maybe the listeners, viewers, let them know about? Yeah,
I mean, realistically, I know they get No Cure. No Cure's like they're some of my best friends. Seeing that band do what they're doing has been incredible. I mean, really just shout out everybody in hardcore that are still actually doing this shit. You know what I mean?
Of course.
That like take it serious. Shout out Lambgoat for being a staple for however long. I've been
25 years.
Comments. Yeah, it's been crazy. I have been an anonymous commenter on Lambgoat plenty of times.
I've tried to tell. That's what I say to everybody, because some people have fucking issues with the comments. And I'm like, they're just bands or friends of bands that are fucking with each other. There are, granted, like 5% are just going to be fucking crazy people posting about politics or fucking some other shit that have nothing to do with the story. But they're just being trolls, and that's on the internet anywhere. And plus, that's
everywhere you go.
Comments on Twitter or X and Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook are by far way worse, but you know, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I used to fucking go to Lambgoat when I was a fucking teenager too. So that was one of the first websites I started like cutting my teeth on as far as like finding out music. So it's been a wild ride, like, you know, owning it. So that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Cool, Brandon. Well, thank you for your time, brother. I'll cut you loose here. Good luck on everything. I'm pretty sure you're probably going to announce like some tours in the next couple of weeks here, because I don't think you have. Do you have dates currently? Right?
We have like some southern shows? Regional shows. That we're playing, just for the record, just like 5. But then we do have a tour in September. I just can't talk about that one yet.
I'm not trying to pull it out of you, but I figured there was coming. It was in the pipeline. But.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right, man. Well, have a great rest of your week, and good luck on, like I said, what is it, May 2nd, My Gnawing Pains Will Never Rest. So Monarch Heavy, check it out. And man, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, later, dog. Be safe.
You too.